Hey everyone, welcome. Bring all your books.
History for Foos.
Be cool, baby. Be cool, baby. Before we started this podcast, about pimps, to let everybody know that right now, I'm trying to be, what's his name from the Mac? The one that hangs around with Richard Pryor.
Goldie?
Oh, I'm trying to be Goldie, baby. I'm trying to be. Just be cool, baby. Be cool, baby. Go get my bitch. He goes, come on, Mr. Tony. You know the name of the game. Your bitch chose me. And we could handle this like gentlemen. Or we could get into some gangster shit.
Shit, dude. I grew up with that in my head always as a kid.
I remember, man, watching Pimps in movies, and it was always pretty much like they always portray him like bad, especially in a Clint Eastwood movie.
Right.
Like, Clint Eastwood movie. I saw this pimp, and I think he killed this woman. Like he gave her acid. He fed her acid.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, I think inherently pimps are
battery acid
right,
or something. And I think it was a pimp in Good Times. Lenny.
Oh,
Lenny.
yeah. Is that a pimp? Is that
Hell
guy
yeah,
a pimp?
bro. Lenny. He got plenty.
Lenny got plenty. I don't remember like knowing he was a pimp. I think I just was like, oh, that's a smooth character right there.
Yeah. Did you ever see an actual pimp?
That's what I was going to ask you today.
I got approached by a pimp.
I was like, did you know pimps growing up at all or no?
I was approached by a pimp, bro.
Uh-huh.
Because I was wearing Daisy Dukes, picking up something off the floor. No.
Right.
I was in Visalia. I was doing a show. I was coming from the show.
Right.
And I guess this guy was picking up one of his hoes out of the hotel.
Yeah.
Right? So he saw me, man. Hey, man. He goes, you looking? He goes, man, you funny, man. You looking for fun? He goes, I got my bitch coming right now, man. Y'all gotta go at it.
Yes. I've been approached by these guys before.
Yeah, man. So then I saw that, and one time when I was in Monterey, California, I saw this one black dude, and I could tell he was a pimp. He was walking with one lady, hoe, in Monterey,
right?
Like on Carmel Street.
Yeah,
he was pimping her.
That's actually where they go over there. I know that particularly because I used to live out by there.
But
it's
these
weird
pimps,
that Monterey has pimps and hoes, though. It is weird.
But these pimps, they were not dressed like all flashy, man, because they'll get caught. They were just dressed undercover and shit. They were just normal.
Most pimps don't. Like when I lived in Oakland, I would see the pimps drive by all the time because I lived right off the track, which is where the whole stroll, which is where the women walk up and down, and you would see them go by, and you knew they were the pimps because they would stop and like check on the ladies and wouldn't pull them into the car or anything, and there'd be some sort of exchange, and they did not look at all like pimps. They just look like regular dudes, they just look like homies, and that was like. But
it's weird because like I saw a movie back in the day, and this is like during like the whole, because because there was a time when there was like the pimp genre went through different stages where when there was in the 70s it was all goofballs, like the pimps were like they made them look
like Huggy Bear,
like friendly and jokingly and But then later on in the 90s, they became like a motherfucker real stylish, huh?
Right, yeah. And when I was, late 90s, early 2000s, I was bartending at a bar called The Caravan in downtown San Jose. This is probably like my most like, oh, this is a pimp I'm dealing with, situation. Because I mean, I'm sure we've all walked by pimps.
Hold on, man. You got no vision. You got no vision.
Okay. Let me try to restart this with some vision. Imagine you're in downtown San Jose, and there's this bar that looks like it's been stuck in the 70s forever, and it's filled with like old businessmen in the early evening before the more popular younger people come in. And this lady who came in one night with like four pretty girls, and this lady, you could tell like she had like tattoos under her eyes and like, you know, shit on her neck, dude. Like, you could tell she'd been through it. And she comes over and she like goes, "Hi, my name is Lady So-and-so." I don't even remember, bro. And she had $100 bill in her like between her hand like that, and she did this. And she like grabbed my hand and gave me the 100. And she's all, "Me and my friends here are just gonna hang out for a while." And I would like right away knew like, oh fuck, bro, this is like a situation, like this is a pimp situation. You know, and I'm 22, 23. I was like, yeah, go for it, dude. And she came in for like 2 or 3 weeks. Never saw her again after that. That's my closest, like, that's the only pimp like I've ever really met.
Oh, you were pimping?
I wasn't pimping. She was pimping in my bar.
Wow, she gave you a cut?
She gave me $100 every time she came in. Did not say anything. I didn't know. I'll be honest though, because I didn't know what the fuck that like I knew pimping was pimping, but I didn't realize the ramifications at the time or what could have happened or whatever. I just was like, holy shit. And this bar is like a sleazy, like, which is like our favorite sleazy bar, but like in the morning to the late afternoon, man, the people that would come in there, dude, oof. But yeah, that was the closest I ever came. But I never talked to her or asked her name or, you know, was like, who are these ladies? I just was like, all right.
Were they good looking?
They were pretty. And they would, like, she had a van. She had pulled up in, like, remember those Astro vans back in the day?
Yeah.
Or those big conversion vans? Yeah, she would pull up in that. But she was a lady, dude. She was straight up a woman. It wasn't a man pimp. That was, like, for sure a woman pimp.
It's crazy, man. There's always been pimping, right? Like, pimping since day one.
Since day one.
And there's always been prostitutes since day one.
Right.
Because they said like prostitution is like the older profession.
Right.
And I guess pimping must be the second older profession.
Yeah. Of course. That's kind of like, you know,
Just dropping knowledge here, motherfuckers.
we could compare it to pirates when it was like, as soon as the boat was created, the pirate, like a pirate was created. Like it came right after, you know, like you can't have one without the other apparently.
Just like the first time somebody like went to the radio, somebody threw that shit in a bathtub with somebody in there. Because as human beings, we're known to use.
How I thought you were going.
As human beings, we're known to use any type of weapon, any type of invention to unalive somebody.
We will totally do that. Yeah, human beings are ruthless in that way, dude. We are definitely like, oh, this thing that I could listen to commercials and people sing on. I wonder how I could kill someone with it. Like, fuck, for real, dude. How fucking dark is that, dude? Like, when did we discover that you could do that? That's
when the fucking radio became light enough to carry in your hands. Because that radio was so heavy back then.
Right.
So, but as soon as it became a lot small enough to put on your desk.
How many dudes do you think like dropped it in the tub when their wife was in there and was like, yeah, she just wanted to listen to the radio.
Toaster, a toaster, bro.
The toaster is crazy, dude.
That's pretty much. Think about it, man. Somebody said, let's invent this to make toast. And then some guy said, nah, let's invent that to throw in a bathtub or somebody having a bubble bath.
That's such a fucked up item to use too. It's just it makes toast.
Instant unalive.
Like, bro, dude, if a toaster gets dropped into the thing, you're dead.
First of all, man, how you gonna let somebody sneak up on you and drop a toaster in a bathtub? I would have smelled toast burning right away, dog.
What's the situation where you let someone walk into the bathroom, plug a toaster in and be like,
Yeah.
hey, since you're in the bath,
You're gonna be like laying in bed like this. You're gonna be laying in bed with a little with a chiclet bird from one side, and the other side still has a lot of weed in it, fucking chiclet, right? And you're gonna be like, hey, bro, you really gonna you really gonna unplug my charger right now and put in that toaster? What are you really gonna make toast right now, homie?
Hey, bro, what are you doing with that toaster?
Hey, bro, don't put that toaster over your head. You're gonna get all those breadcrumbs on your head. You're still trying to be nice. This guy about to murder you. You're just trying to be nice to him. Hey, bro, that toaster gonna get hot on your hands. The best thing to do at that moment, bro, is fart. Fart and let that bubble come out on the other side, bro, with stink.
That's your only defense at that point. Oh, God, that's hilarious, dude. I've never even thought about it. Because you see it all the time. Back in the day, like, the toaster was, like, even in cartoons. Like, Tom and Jerry would drop a toaster in the fucking bathtub while, like, Tom was in the bathtub or something.
That was one of the tortures that one of the pimps was charged for. Because he would tell his women, like, when they would get punished or when they were.
Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, bro.
This guy would like fucking fry chicks in the bathtub?
No, bro. He would ask them, you want them hot or cold? So one of them was, okay, let's say cold. So they'll put them inside, like, inside a bathtub with a bunch of eyes, Joe Rogan style.
Okay.
But for as long as that cigarette burns.
Nah, bro, that's a long.
Or the other one was.
Bro, that is crazy.
Or the other one, that fool burn a hanger and just poke your ass.
Yeah, I seen that one in Iceberg Slim.
Would you think, ice or hot?
Hot.
Hot, huh?
Yeah.
How long you to hold it though?
I mean, I've been burned like pretty hard, so like I would take because it goes away. I mean, unless. Like, we're talking, like, fucking lighting someone on fire. That's different.
Me too. I've been burned a lot, bro. I remember one time in New York, man. This guy told me, wait right here. I'll be right back. I fool never came back.
All right. I've been burned like that, too.
I was on fire, bro. And then everybody in that corner knew what happened because like, it happened in that corner a lot. Yeah.
You got burned.
It's funny when you get robbed in a corner where everybody hangs out at, they all know. Like, oh yeah, man.
For sure, bro.
We're here waiting for the guy to come back too.
I got robbed in TJ one time, and right away the guy was like, "I'm sorry, bro," and I didn't know what he was talking about until I checked my bank account, and the guy took everything. They know, bro.
Oh man, you ever Richard Pryor, he when we did the history of comedy, he grew up in a brothel that was run by a pimp, huh?
Yes. Again.
His father was a pimp, huh? Or maybe
I
not.
don't remember, because what was that movie, JoJo Dancer? I didn't watch that. I read his book. I remember reading his book for that episode. And to be honest with you, as much shit as I packed in my head over the last couple of years doing this, I can't remember if his dad was a pimp or his mom was.
Yeah, his dad was a pimp of a brothel. His mom lived there. His grandma lived there, and I think. And then when he got his first girl pregnant, he thought that the dad was he thought that the father of the baby was his father because his father had been with her too.
Okay, was his mom white? Wasn't she a white lady, or am I recalling that differently?
I don't know, man, but they were living in a pimp house. It's funny, man. I never really seen a full-on pimp, like a dress. Maybe I have, but they were not driving.
Oh, with like a hat and the car.
They were not driving elegant cars.
I think that was a 70s thing, and then after that, it became a myth.
Yeah, but the lifestyle, like flashing gold and flashing all that, it all comes from pimping, huh? Because they were the first one to do it.
This is yes, yeah.
The lifestyle,
and actually, like the more I read into this book, and then I read around it, because you recommended Iceberg Slim. You said it was one of your favorite books too.
Who Go read Iceberg Slim, written by Iceberg Slim.
So this book is the reason why we have all this pimp shit right now. And one of the things that I learned
it's like a pimp Bible, that book.
So we're gonna go back as far back.
Tell us, bro.
We'll
Begin.
go. We're gonna go as far
History
back
of pimps
to the beginning of pimping, to like the earliest Sumerian writings. But the pimp that you see right now, and the pimp that we're talking about mostly, women pretty much took care of themselves when it came to whoring and the whore industry.
And there's a show on Hulu called Harlots.
Up until the 20s. You know, there was barely any pimps, and if they were women. And it wasn't until in the 20s in America that a male pimp who was working women on the streets came about. And subsequently, at the time, the only people who would be doing that would be poor people. And at that time, most of the poor people were black. And so you have this image of the black pimp that has come out. But you know, let's not forget Dennis Hoff or Hugh Hefner when we're talking about it. So there was a lot of white pimps back then. But the pimp, the image with the coat, the mink coat, the hat came from one person pretty much directly, and that was Iceberg Slim, a.k.a. Robert. What was his last name? Do you remember? Robert Beck? Robert Beck. And, you know, when you see like... Fillmore Slim, and you see some of the other pimps, Snooki that,
from Milwaukee,
that came out in the 70s, because Iceberg Slim took place during the 30s and the 40s. So
there's a lot of Slims after that, like Cleveland Slim.
Yeah, all these guys that we read about from the 70s read this book and were like, I want to be a fucking pimp.
It's just like the people, it's like when Italians read The Godfather, they wanted to join the mob.
Right. But these guys actually became pimps. And they dressed the part, you know, they looked like, you know, they would wear the hats, they'd have the 70s, they'd have the huge Cadillacs with the fucking big long hoods, and they were really living that lifestyle. A lot of these books are a lot of these things that I read about these guys. Yeah. So when you read these guys, I don't know who these guys are in particular, but when I read their stories, certain pimps.
That Magic Don Juan in the middle.
Okay. All of them were like, I read. And even the rappers, bro, like Ice-T and
Too Short
were like, I read this book and it changed my life.
Mac Dre.
And I gotta be honest, if I read this book in the 20s, I'd want to be a pimp too. In my 20s, I mean, now that I'm an older man, I read it and it's so fucking fascinating.
In this book, it talks about the life of Iceberg Slim, a pimp who later on became a Christian, and it's the beginning of his life. And like, I remember I read this book, man. I read this book like in like 7 days. At the end, I cried.
Yes.
It was sad.
Yeah, I just finished it on the way over here.
You know what's sad? Because he breaks it down like, because the correlation, what leads a man to be a pimp. And it's like this, man. You're either going to be a pimp or you're going to be a serial killer like Ted Bundy.
Right.
There's no other choices. If you're not a pimp, it's because you're not as crazy as a guy that's going to be a pimp. And if you don't be a pimp, you're going to be a serial killer. You're going to kill women. His story is about a guy, you know, his mother used to get beaten by his father all the time, like beaten. And then he would get beaten too.
Right. So
they ran away and they moved in with somewhere else. Then the mom hooked up with like a new boyfriend, and he was real cool, man. And he was like, as a kid, he loved this guy, man. He grew up with him. But then the mom met this crazy motherfucker, bro. Remember that crazy motherfucker he met?
Yeah.
And then
the guy she took off with, Clarence.
And then she ended up taking off with Clarence, who pretty much lied to her, and then he ended up pimping her, huh?
Yeah, he ended up pimping her in a way.
Pimping his mom.
And
beating his ass, huh?
Beating his ass, beating her, trying to get, like, pretty much telling him when he wasn't there, I'm going to get rid of you. You're going to get the fuck out of my life. Like, as soon as I can talk your mom into it, you're fucking gone.
So along the way,
man. He misses his stepdad that was, like, taking good care of him and kind of set them up. Like, this ugly fat dude, like, hooked up with his mom, and out of necessity, she hooked up back with him. And he loved her, and he was
taken care of, man.
Yeah, and he felt taken care of.
He would have had a different life.
But the mom was like shallow in a way, and was like, "I'm gonna go with this one dude." And You know, that's the thing is
She found a trap.
I already knew this, but you know, we'll talk about it. Like pimp, that's the whole thing about pimping, is like getting in someone's head and turning them into something they would never be. I remember watching that Pimp.
Anyone control a woman's body, but it takes a pimp to control a bitch's mind.
I remember watching this documentary, and I did believe it then, and I believe it to this day. And it's this big fat guy driving in a Cadillac, and he's like, I could pimp any hoe. He's driving in his Cadillac as a pimp. It's a documentary. He goes, I could pimp any woman into being a hoe. I could get your wholesome ass mama living in the Midwest, and I could talk her into tricking for me tomorrow. And I remember thinking like, yo, what the fuck? Like, is that? And I was like, what the? And I look over at my dad, and my dad just kind of nodding.
You like watching it on HBO?
Right. And in my mind, I was like, no way. You could do that? You know, and that's what these guys were, bro. They were smooth talkers. When you listen to this guy in this book, because he uses all the lingo he used back then. The book uses like how they would talk, and I'm like, man, this motherfucker was smooth,
bro. I like it. The Matt Goldie. He grabs this white chick that run away from home.
Yeah,
because she was dating a black guy. So the dad got all mad. We dated a black guy, so he fucking kicked her ass out. So Goldie comes in and says, "Nah, baby, I'm gonna take care of you, man. I'm gonna be better than your husband. I'm gonna be your daddy.
I'm gonna be your dad.
I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna tell you what to do. I'm gonna tell you." He goes, "Nah, man. I don't want to be your man. Any chump can be your man. Any chump can be your boyfriend. I'm gonna be your daddy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you how to dress. I'm gonna tell you. But he said it all smooth. I'm gonna tell you when to ride, baby. You're gonna take me to the top, baby. You're my number. You're gonna be the number one. You're gonna be right on top. You're gonna be my top hoe, and you're gonna be my number one. You're my number one. But you gotta be cool about it, baby. You gotta be cool about it, baby. You know, because you're a beautiful flower, baby.
I can only imagine.
And then she's getting all horny with him, bro.
Yeah.
And then he's like holding her back. No, baby, no. You have to hold on, baby.
Yeah.
Right. So this one, Goldie has this one, right? Like he got her, right? Because this one only wants love and attention.
Right.
So she got in her brain, right? So then she'll probably send this one to go run a bunch of tricks before he even has sex with her.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And by that time, he'll get all the cash. And then when he comes to her, he'll make love to her, bro, and make her think that they're in this crazy relationship.
Right.
But there's other ones that he meets them and they're like they want to party.
Right.
He goes, baby, you want to party? He goes, come with me, man. He goes, you see all this? You see how I got this? He goes, I could get more with your help. But we got to party together. He goes, you want to go to the party? We can go party. He goes, you don't got to worry about getting that stuff from the guy. It could be trash. It got fentanyl in it. You think that's a comedy?
No.
And that one, bro, he'll get her little by little by giving her drugs, just like they got the guy from I Was Made for This.
What's the name of that movie? What was the name of that movie?
Oh,
dude?
man, Paradise Alley.
Yes, dude, where like he gets the geek.
And the guy that got the geek, he's pimping the geek.
Yeah, he's pimping the geek. Well, and that's the thing, dude. This kind of made me think, because this Iceberg Slim book, he's like, man, everybody's a pimp if you think about it. Like the professors are pimping the students, or your boss is pimping you, or you go home and you pimp your wife, and you like, and it's like, holy fuck, bro.
Comedy club pimping the comics.
Bro, I'm listening to this, and I'm at the comedy club, and my boss comes out, and he's being a dick to me, and I'm thinking like, dude, my pimp is yelling at me, like I want to go home.
You got hit with a cane in your head.
He beat me with a hanger. For giving away too many free
it's
passes.
funny, man. Like Iceberg Slim, the kind of cars that he was driving back then were expensive, huh?
Expensive.
Nobody, they were buying them every year, huh?
That was actually
$35,000.
Fillmore Slim was doing that. Iceberg Slim, he struggled a lot because he was in and out of. He got busted so many times.
And he partied.
But he partied and he escaped from prison for 13 years. He escaped and got away with it. And then when he went back, he only spent like 6 months before he went in and like, cause he's smart.
There he is, look.
That's the thing is this dude is smart. He's not just some like dumb motherfucker on the street. Like this guy actually educated himself, and his last stint in prison, he escaped and was like gone for 13 years, and they busted him and brought him back to the same prison, and he kind of cataloged all the atrocities that were happening in the prison, and he approached the warden. He's like, check this out, and he said it so eloquently because he's a pimp. He tells him like, bro, I know all this shit that's gonna happen. I can open the door wide open on you, and you're gonna get in trouble, or you could just let me go, which I'm gonna be getting out anyway because I have a lawyer who's gonna come and get me out. So fucking either you let me out now or I get let out and I tell everybody what the fuck's happening here. And he wasn't even gonna let out, but that fucking warden was like, boop, all right, you can get out tomorrow. And then that was the last time he stayed in. After that, he kind of went and followed the righteous path and stuff. But yeah, dude, that guy life was so interesting. He got in trouble so many times. And dude, for dumb reasons. There's why he went to prison in the first place, because they were looking for him, remember? And then he goes, I got busted for the dumbest fucking thing. He goes, I left a note that I was writing to my girl about what I was into, about my heist and stuff, and I left it in the thing. So when I went to go talk to the cops, they were searching my house. I was trying to throw the cops off. I went to the police station. They were searching my house, and they found all the paperwork, and they found that I had escaped from prison, and that's how they brought me back.
That's crazy, man. When was the actual pimp word was used?
The first use of the word pimp, break out my cardboard here, bro. The first use of the word pimp was in a play called...
a French play, huh?
It was an English play called Our 5 Gallons. And it was in the early 18th century, 1700s. And it was used just there. And then... it wasn't used again up until like the 19th century. And then it became, but pimps back. Okay, so let's go all the way back to early Sumerian.
Even though the pimp guy is walking around like a pimp.
Yeah.
A pimp pretty much is somebody who has hoes out in the streets. But there's like and that's a derogatory name that was given to somebody. Because the people that run brothel that have a lot of money,
right?
They pay the cops to go after those pimps because they're taking a lot of business.
Right. Out. Yes. There was a battle between the houses and the streets.
Because I saw that movie called Harlots, the show on Hulu.
Right.
And it was about whoring, bro.
Whoring, really?
Whoring, bro.
Never even heard about this.
It's called Harlots. It's on Hulu. Watch it. And there's this one lady. She's protesting, bro, inside of it's like a straight up whorehouse. Like, you know, when you pass by and they go like this to you.
Right,
It's a whorehouse.
Yeah.
And it's run by a madame.
Okay, yes.
It's run by a madame.
Yes.
But her fucking enforcer is this big black motherfucker, bro.
Oh, really?
But you know, back then, brother couldn't have no businesses.
No.
But you get a nice white woman to run it for you. You can run it from the
white
scenes.
Woman.
But he's the one doing all the enforcing. And he's doing all the hard shit. But anyways, so in front of that whorehouse, there's a fucking lady going, "Your deem go to hell. Women shouldn't be like this. Your deem go to hell." Blah 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 blah. Right.
Right.
And then when she's done, she starts walking, and this rich ass lady gives her a bunch of coins and pays her off. And she goes back to her church, and that bitch running a very respectable whorehouse for noblemen and scribes.
Yes. Do you know who that lady was? That you're talking about? I think you're talking
about the noble one?
Elizabeth. I don't know if it's the same show, but this sounds very familiar to Elizabeth Cresswell.
Yeah.
Who was like one of the first pimps ever. Like,
she was a respectable one, bro.
Yeah, and she was once a prostitute herself, then became a madam.
Yeah.
She owned she owned all these brothels, and she got busted.
Well, she's rich, right?
And they were gonna hang her. Yeah.
She's a rich ass madam.
She was rich, and she talked the government into funding her brothels, and she was like, "Look, this is like how men don't cheat."
So this is a true story between her and finding a whorehouse.
Yes.
Well, there it is.
Like all these whorehouses. I don't know if it's the same show, but it sounds like Elizabeth Cresswell, who was like the most prominent. And she was like, King Louis II would come and King Charles II, I'm sorry, would come, and other politicians would fucking come and hang out. And like,
just like the princess went to Epstein Island,
right? And the other thing she did, dude, right? No, I don't know about. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. But I don't. But the thing that she did also was like, in a way, this is kind of charitable, and this is where I find it's weird. Like this whole vibe goes through Pimps, because these guys, listen. I'm not a fan of these people. They did horrible things to women. But one of the things, that they kind of did, like, she opened whorehouses at levels. So if you were poor, there was a whorehouse you could go to. If you were middle class, there was a whorehouse you could go to. And then she had whorehouses for, like, the super rich and elite. And so she tried to spread out, like, the wealth evenly. Yeah, it's weird. But I kind of want to go back to... unless you have something else you want to talk about.
No, talk about this.
So the earliest, you want to know who the earliest pimp is, technically, in my mind?
Yeah.
The oldest scribe, the oldest book in the world is
the Bible.
No, it's actually a book called the Epic of Gilgamesh. And in the Epic of Gilgamesh,
send me a copy.
They talk about a village. I will, actually. It's a really good book. They talk about a village. They talk about the town. Called Uruk, which is modern day Iraq. I think
Uruk, okay.
Uruk, and so the goddess Ishtar was a human goddess, and she had a temple. And in reality, these people ran this temple, and they were called ceremonial prostitutes, or ceremonial prostitutes. And so there was 3 levels of these prostitutes. One was only for the clerics and people in the church. The second ones were for visitors who were devoted to the religion. And then the third were hookers that would go out into the street and fuck poor people. And so the really first pimp was Ishtar, was a lady named Ishtar, was a goddess Ishtar. Because that's who ran that for a while. Then you can fast forward to modern day ancient Greece, and this is where the word porno comes from. Because pimps and prostitutes both alike were called pornoboskos.
Pornoboskos.
Like basically filth providers, and so
I'm the goddess Pornoboskos raider.
And again, They were at the bottom of the scale of like serfs. They were property of the pimps who received a portion of their earnings, and the word means to sell, like filth. Pimps were considered, at the time, they weren't pimps. They were called procurers or panderers, and they were considered right up there with cooks, innkeepers, and tax collectors. The owners could be male or female. It didn't really matter. There was a politician by the name of Salon who came along, and whoring was kind of looked down upon, and they were thinking about illegalizing it. And this is Athens, Greece, ancient Athens. But this guy comes along and he's like, "Look, these women perform a service for like single men, and if these single men don't have anywhere to go, they're gonna rape all our women." And at the time, it was illegal for like married men or Jewish men to go and do things with these whores. But if you were single, you could do whatever you wanted. So this guy this politician opened up the first real brothels. He opened up what was considered, and his name was Salon, and he opened up all these brothels. And again, it was 3-tiered services. It was like fucking poor, middle class, super rich. And then that's when you fast forward to Elizabeth Cresswell, we were just talking about.
So it was like your sister, redneck chick, and nobly.
Right, yes.
Noble.
Totally, exactly. Yeah, or depending on how hot your sister was, it could be redneck, sister, noble.
Also, I wonder if like I didn't see any of this anywhere. If if slave owners were be trading slaves in the middle of the night, to different slave owners, like black slaves.
Yes, the women.
Yeah,
yeah, they would trade women with each other, and that's kind of another form of pimping.
But
that
then
was
they just come back, huh? Like the first white swapping was slave women, huh?
Yeah, there was a guy, I can't remember his name, and he would trade off hot slaves to slave owners who wanted to bang black chicks. And so he would sell his women off in the middle of the night, and then they would come back in the morning, and then he would make them work in the daytime.
No, it's funny. It's not funny, but I could add to that because I read another book, and they were called. I don't know the name of the book, but this whole book was about slavery. I read 2 slavery books, but this is another one I read, and this one. There were auctioning off women who have milk in their boobs already as
mammies
as mammies for like a temporary, like,
right? Yeah,
because you have a newborn baby.
Yes,
you could you as a slave owner you could send her off to nurse that baby all day and then come back home as a nursemaid.
Yeah,
and her life over there was just to be nursing and do maybe like light housework.
She didn't even have a baby. She would just be leaking milk all day.
Yeah. But then that'll leave no milk for her own baby.
Right.
So that she has to give a little baby like pork broth. That way the food will get strong, bro.
You know what? That's a fact. That's a fact, bro. That is a real thing. Yeah.
Because there was no the slave would have to go cook. Even a house slave. Like you think a house slave was like a house slave was like, people always say a house slave, just because in the kitchen, blah, blah, blah. Some of the house slaves, their mouth was shut.
Right.
So they wouldn't eat the food.
Right, yeah. They would fucking wire their jaws shut.
Or they knock all their teeth out so they wouldn't be able to eat no food, you know. Everything was counted. So they were left with bones. They were left with like the back of the carrot. They were left with like collard green stuff that they didn't like.
The shitty parts of the chicken.
The shitty parts of the chicken.
Parts of the pork.
But the slaves were from Africa. And if you go to this video in Africa where there's these Africans and they're living in the bush and they're boiling everything. And these slaves were boiling everything too, and all this stuff is already clean.
I seen that video. That just came out, right? Or like a short about it.
Yeah, so now they're boiling and everything.
Yeah, they're boiling oxes and stuff.
And then that's all protein.
It's all protein, bro. And it's making them stronger. And that's the thing is like, the other thing is like, this is a scientific fact. If you suck on your girl's titties like for like a bunch of nights in a row, she'll start to produce milk. Like the mammary glands automatically start to detect and go back into functional.
I tried that, bro. All I got was stop doing that now.
I think it's like long amounts of time, but like you can get it going. And so these women.
You think it's milk, bro, but it's probably like infection. Now it's pus.
No, bro.
You're infected that shit, bro. Like a mad cow disease.
So you can be a person that doesn't have any children, and you can start like giving milk.
Think about it, man. When you pay for a woman to be your companion, you know, forget the word prostitute.
Right.
It just gives it a bad derogatory name, you know. But you're actually paying for to have sex, you know.
Right.
But and you talk to those prostitutes, the ones that were doing that. Some of them were they were documenting, you know. They said that some of these guys want to make love. I ain't got time for no making love.
He
goes, beat it, get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, move it on. And but some of these guys, like, they want like extra, like they want to be like treated like they're a boyfriend, like Jamie Lee Curtis, bro, and Trading Places.
Yeah.
She's a prostitute.
Right.
But she does prostitute out of her home.
Oh, yes.
Remember when she takes Dan Aykroyd in, and the guy and then some married guy shows up with roses.
Right. Yeah.
Then she goes, "It's Tuesday."
That's right.
And then she goes, "All right, thank you very much. I can't do it tonight." What? I can't do it tonight. But he was.
That's right. She was a dude. There's a modern term for that didn't exist back then called GFE.
What's that called?
GFE.
And then
girlfriend experience.
Yes, girlfriend experience. And there's a movie with it's called I don't know the name of the movie, man, but just any Woody Allen movie, there's always prostitutes in the movie. I don't care. Any movie you watch,
that's true. That's true.
You want to watch a movie with prostitutes? Woody Allen. This guy takes a prostitute to a parent conference meeting. But anyways, there's a scene where him and Elliot Gould are just having a conversation.
Yeah.
And they're like, he goes, no, he Elliot Gould is telling Woody Allen, yeah, no, the one I'm dating, she's great. She's great. She makes you feel like you're alive again. You know? I go home. I make love to my wife. It's beautiful now.
I've heard this.
But this girl, she makes me feel like, you know, like she wants to read my book, but you're not writing a book. Exactly.
What movie is that? Do you know?
I think it's either
that's so good, dude. I want to watch that.
Everything you want to know about sex, maybe.
Oh, yes, I remember when that movie came, like the 90s.
Or Friends and Neighbors.
Yeah, okay.
Or Friends and Neighbors.
All right.
But with a prostitute.
Right.
And
but they're getting they're getting the girlfriend experience.
And then but it's funny how like now that you got more?
No, I mean,
but now like nobody ever says like oh yeah, he played a sex trafficker on television.
Right. No, pimp is the word used. Yes. Sex trafficker is so gross. But there is a difference, to be honest with you.
But because that's how they got that's how Iceberg
got Slim, white slavery.
Because it's called sex trafficking.
Yes.
It's when you take a person to do an unlawful thing to another state.
Right. Yeah. And in the business there's a preference. So a sex trafficker or a human trafficker is someone who takes people against their will to go work in sex. And then there's people who, because I learned this from, shout out to, I'm going to get her name right now, bro, because we watched this video and she did a great job. Shout out to Intellectual Media, because she's the one who...
She's awesome. She has a lot... You want to learn more about pimping and more about sex crimes and more about sex and people, anything about with sex?
Her podcast is great. Her videos.
She has a good one on Hugh Hefner we got to watch.
Yeah, I watched a few of hers after I watched this one. But shout out to her because she brought to attention that there are two different types of sex workers or people who work in this industry. So sex traffickers are people who kidnap people and take them to do things against their will, but there are also sex workers who do it voluntarily, and those are usually the ones that fall under pimps. And she did point this out, and this is something that's interesting to me. So during all the way up until the 20s, most brothels and pimping was done by women. So most whores are hoeing or prostitution was done by women. And then in the 1920s, like we already talked about, men came about and became pimps. This actually ended lately in the early 2000s, up until 2014. Statistically, women had women murders, rapes, kidnappings had dropped significantly due to websites like Redbook and Backpage. And then a law came into play around 2014 that took those things off the internet and they arrested the site owners. But women in those sites overwhelmingly were like, no, this helps us so we don't have to have a pimp. So we could screen the people ourselves and we could, because like there was this system apparently where they would verify with each other. There was a rating system for the men that used it, and these women felt safe. And then when these sites were taken down, the statistics, and this is according to our friend here at Intellectual Media, statistics went back up. Like murder statistics, kidnapping, beating statistics went back up.
I remember there was a 24-hour cafe on Sunset.
Okay.
That's probably a Chick-fil-A now. But there used to be a little cafe on the side in front of the 7-Eleven on Sunset and Brea. And, bro, I used to see pimps in there, bro.
Really?
And the internet, bro, getting dates for hoes.
No
Remember when
shit.
everything moved to the internet?
Yeah.
And the pimp don't got to be out there in the streets?
He's over there
he was
putting
running back page.
No shit.
Running back page, old school style. Or putting
on Craigslist.
And then or putting up Craigslist. Because there's a weird, and man, you ain't gonna stop people from selling sex, huh?
Never. I mean,
it's like
if we live in a perfect
what would be hard to
society
get
one
rid
day-
of, bro? Drugs or sex?
Neither.
Nah, man. You would have to have
Probably drugs first, but
everybody would have to have a good job, bro. But whatever, but it's funny how the prostitution runs. Like I know by running into a prostitute one time, an ex-prostitute, and her name was Dollar Bill, because her fingernails, bro, they were all done with real dollar bills.
they had like dollar bills inside the acrylic.
Yeah, so right here on this one was number 1. She had the one right here. And this one had the Washington's face. Washington's face was right here on her thumbs.
Oh, dope.
So she had all designed, bro. She told me she was an ex-prostitute. This was Tucson, Arizona, and she was my driver. And she was telling me how she broke down the prostitution game, bro, and the pimp game to me in the car. And she was telling me like this, man, that cause she worked as a drug runner going into Mexico and coming back because she was black and nobody stopped her, and she was running for some drug dealers in Texas and Arizona. She said that wherever there's a construction site, like a big job, they said they're gonna build the Hoover Dam.
Right.
And people are gonna be paid every week. And there's it's just like the gold rush. They're gonna be paid every week, and there's cash. A pimp always shows up.
Yes.
Host.
Yes.
Oil rig about to get fixed. A pimp shows up with host. Who show up?
Yes.
From working Alaska fishing, bro. Who's waiting on the dock?
Right. Yes.
The nearest who's waiting on the dock? Hosts. And not just hosts, drug dealers, people that want to get you high, bars.
Right. Yeah. To this day, I mean, you can go into a bar probably in like the wrong part of town, and there'll be somebody setting up a girl for you.
Are you here for the convention? But they were glamorizing it. Like, one thing that she talked about in her podcast was when we were researching it, that pimp was glamorized, bro, for a long time.
Right. Yes.
Everybody wanted to be a pimp. People walk up to you, what's up, pimping?
Yeah.
That's a pimp ass ride.
By the 90s, do you remember like
Pimp my ride.
Well, even before that, bro, and to be honest with you,
I'll slap a hoe.
I'm not gonna say
Life ain't nothing but bitches and money.
Bitches ain't shit, but hoes and tricks. Licks on these balls.
I've got hoes.
Yeah.
I got hoes in different era codes.
If you grew up with this, dude, this music affected me so much.
I got a puta in Huntington Beach. I got a puta in Huntington Park. I got a puta in Highland Park.
I don't remember.
I got a little chinita in Monterey Park.
I don't remember that song, but
you're not in the game, homie. Even King of the Hill had a pimping episode, bro, where Snoop Dogg had a pimp.
Yeah. That was
not focused,
bro, and that was the thing is again. Shout out to what was her name again? I'm so sorry, lady. What was this woman's name? Intellectual media.
There she is, right there. No,
because here's the thing: is she brought into focus the dilution of the seriousness of what pimps were doing. Like this woman's point was like, in the 90s, we warmed and soft and fuzzied up pimps. But back in the day, like, even Iceberg Slim was like, we recognize this bitch. She had the scars on her stomach from him beating her with the hanger. You know, and it's like
how about when big Magic Don Juan is telling that story about one of his hoes getting shot 10 times.
Oh,
and
my
she at the hospital, almost dead.
No,
and
she's
her
in the
mom.
street.
What?
She's still laying in the street.
Oh, she's laying in the street, all bleeding
out.
She got shot up, and then she said, "I'm sorry, baby,
Daddy.
As soon as I get better, I'll go back to them streets."
She didn't even say that. She was like, "Tell me what I need to do to make you money right now, Daddy. Tell me what I need to do to make you right now. I'm so sorry this is happening, Daddy." I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, my lady loves me, but if she got shot, the last thing she would be trying to do is think about what's going on in my life.
You were the wrong woman then.
Let's bring Lisa on in here.
She should be bleeding right there, bro. Trying to tie your shoes.
Where's Lisa?
But that's how it is, bro. That's how it is, bro. When you watch back in the day, you watch a John Wayne movie. John Wayne will get shot 2 times. And the Mexican homie will get shot 35 times.
Right.
And he's laying on the floor going, "Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay, boss? Are you okay?"
Nah, bro.
He's telling John Wayne, "Are you okay, bro?" He's still on his horse. The motherfucker fell off his horse, broke his legs. Candy came out of him. He's bleeding, horchata.
I would definitely be calling my lady, and I'd be like next to me, be like, "I think Felipe's dead already." Like, I wouldn't even be checking in. I'd be like, "Make sure the dog's fed. Don't forget to clean out my fucking drawer before my family gets there to look through it."
Did you see that movie, bro? That clip with and it's all based on a fake story. The one where Christopher Reeves is like a reporter and he's walking around with Morgan Freeman. He's a pimp.
Yes.
And there's a scene, bro, where
Did you see that movie?
No, but I saw that one clip, bro,
Okay.
where Morgan Freeman is talking and he's a pimp, and then Christopher Reeves is there with his wife or girlfriend. He's like a reporter,
Right.
and then his wife gets out of hand, starts talking, trying to correct him with one of the ladies. He fucking slacked the shit out of her, bro.
I didn't see.
Look it up, bro. Morgan
Can
Freeman.
we see this, please?
Morgan Freeman
Plays a pimp.
Morgan Freeman pimps Christopher Reeves, slapped the shit out of her. Bro, I saw this fucked up movie, bro. Oh man, you hate this. Oh man. Wait.
Oh, he slapped his lady.
Yeah.
Bro, you can't slap my white lady. He just checked. Like, was she maybe chiming in?
Yeah, chiming in, bro.
Because we can't hear it because
she's chiming in.
Holy fuck. Dude, fucking Morgan Freeman's cold-blooded, dude.
Yeah, man.
Did not see Morgan Freeman as a
Bro,
pimp ever.
Did you see that part of Taxi Driver where they said that Taxi Driver
Yes.
they were trying to during the black exploitation movies like the Mac, so many black exploitation movies about pimp.
Right, yeah. And then apparently Taxi came out and they were supposed to have a black pimp. Is that what you're talking
They were
about?
supposed to have a black pimp, but somebody told them not, and that's how Harvey Keitel was playing a white pimp.
Which, like...
In the movie, you see Taxi Driver?
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, and in that movie, Jodie Foster is 14 years old.
I can't believe that.
She's actually 14 years old.
In the movie. Yeah, she's a little girl in that movie.
A 14-year-old prostitute.
Yes. 70s was raw,
she got an Oscar.
70s didn't fuck around, dude.
And she got an Oscar.
Of course she did, dude. She should have.
And then Harvey Keitel is playing a pimp, right? But he looked like a Puerto Rican pimp. But anyways.
That's right.
But I think a black pimp, a black actor would have made the joke, made the movie better. Not that Harvey Keitel didn't do a good job.
The role would have been more profound.
More profound,
right.
Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, and then remember I told you that Quentin Tarantino takes a lot of samples from Scorsese.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
He wrote True Romance, right?
Yes, totally.
True Romance.
Yeah.
But he didn't direct True Romance. It was directed by one of the brothers
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we already talked
He just
about-
wrote the script.
Yeah,
he
you
wrote
wrote
the
the
screenplay.
script.
Right.
But he wanted so he wrote it for like the guy to be white, right?
Right.
So then when they did the movie, they didn't change it.
Right.
So
Okay.
he put in a white guy too because Scorsese put in a white guy.
That's why.
But it was a mistake because Scorsese wanted a black guy. So if he wanted to really copy Scorsese, he would have put a black guy in.
That's why. What's his name? Plays the white pimp. I got to be honest with you, dude. What's the guy who plays the pimp in
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman fucking nailed that role, though, bro.
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman is one of the best underrated actors of all time in my mind, and it's because of roles like that.
Gary Oldman said that he saw somebody doing that role in the streets, and he copied it.
He's a fucking genius.
He said when he walked out, he goes, "Man," he goes, "Oh man."
Please tell me I'm wrong or I'm stupid in the comments. If you go and watch that man do his fucking his piece in that film, come back and tell me whether that wasn't a good job.
Oh, what we got here is we got motherfucking Charles Bronson right here.
Yeah.
Oh, his name is Clarence. Oh, he got N-word name. It's today white boy day. It's today white boy day.
It's not white boy day.
It ain't white boy day.
I love that one, bro.
It ain't white boy day.
To this day, my buddy's a white dude, and when he thinks he's like, I want to go eat. I'm all, oh, is today white boy day?
He goes, you come in here like you have a care in the world.
I got everything here from
chicken wing to man do I know.
From a diddle-eyed Joe
to damn
if I know.
Now, you come in here like you Charles Bronson and shit. Like you don't have a care in the world. Now, on the side of that TV over there, there's been a big stack of big titties over there. But you ain't my body to look once.
Yes.
And this is the Tarantino's bullshit writing comes in. Oh, I can't. I'm not eating because I'm not staying.
That movie is The Mac.
I'm not staying because I've seen it. That movie is The Mac with Pam Grier and Richard Pryor.
And I've seen it.
But you know what, bro? That scene right there had a shitload of dialogue that Quentin Tarantino does in movies.
Right.
That director said, "Fuck all this." That if you look, I'll bring the script one day and I'll read the extra dialogue. But the dialogue for the movie was more like this: "Oh, you ain't staying. I ain't staying because I'm not hungry. I'm not eating because I ain't hungry." It goes, "I'm not staying because I ain't staying. I'm not watching the screen because I already seen that movie." That's The Mac with Richard Pryor and Pam Grier. Then he mentions two more actors, cinematographer, but I think it was shot by they wanted to do lighting right here, but they couldn't get a deal to get Richard Pryor in the movie. Bro, because you know what? The director, he wrote all that dialogue, bro.
Right.
But the director who directed the movie knew that pimp would have shot his ass doing all that dialogue.
So he got rid of all that dialogue.
Got rid of the dialogue.
And that's why you have that real short.
And
then they go, and
short.
they get into it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Because he already know in the other scene, he shot the guy with a big shotgun. He's the guy with little words.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So it would not make sense to throw in all that Quentin Tarantino.
That's why sometimes a director.
Why I'm the fucking sheriff of Red Rock dialogue.
Yeah, that makes sense, dude. I'm a Quentin Tarantino fan.
Man, me too, bro.
But there is a lot of his bullshit in certain films, and if you're a fan of someone, I think it's okay to like actually criticize what they do because you know who they are. And yeah, Quentin Tarantino definitely fills dialogue sometimes too much, where it's just like the scene wouldn't fucking happen. But I do love the scene at the beginning of Reservoir Dogs when they're sitting at the diner. And they're having that little bit of peace. That's where he's good at it. But then at the same time,
you know what this is right here, bro? The worst modest violin for the waitresses. now you tell me that if I should pay extra for them to stir in my coffee, I got two words for that, man. Learn how to type.
Yes,
because I'm not gonna bend over backward because society says so. You want me to pay more? I'll put it to a vote. I'll vote for it.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna bend over backward like some schmuck and shit.
Mr. Pink,
I pay for your fucking breakfast. There, you put $1 in like everybody else. You fucking cheap cocksucker.
I love this fucking movie, but it's my favorite movie when I was growing up.
normally I wouldn't do that for this kid. Who give the fuck with your number? Do you put $1 on the rest of us?
Yes.
You're listening to the weird sounds of that was the sound of the
Who was the do you know who the voice was?
Stephen Wright.
Yes,
comedian.
Stephen Wright. Absolutely, dude.
But like you, like I think I don't think if you're gonna break down pimping and take away the word pimping from because
procuring
sex, but if you ever convince somebody to do something like give you a ride when they didn't want to, you pimp them.
Right. That's the thing that I learned too in this is that we're all pimps and we're all.
See, I'm the biggest hustler of all time.
Right.
Because I stutter, man. I'm doing stand-up comedy.
Right.
Check that out.
But who's your
for real,
pimps?
bro? The only word I knew back then, I used to stutter so much. The only word I got right was chia.
Did you really stutter that bad?
Yeah, man.
No shit, dude. Good for you, dude. Fucking proud of you, my friend.
Hell yeah, bro. That's why they didn't want to give me a fake toy gun, bro, because everybody's going ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. I'm going
You would have killed everybody.
It's over.
Yeah.
Did you read that? It's funny, like, when we read about the Chinese people in America, we mentioned that they had dry cleaning and the Chinese restaurants and all that.
Yes.
But we didn't mention, we didn't know from reading this book and researching that a lot of that money came from the Chinese being pimps and having their own brothels.
Right.
So they had to turn that money somehow.
They had to turn that money. And what they would do was they would keep the women in the back. And this is why men work at when you go to Chinese restaurants. I mean, now men work at all restaurants, but do you remember the 80s and 90s when you'd go to a regular restaurant and it was all women that were wait staff, but then you'd go to a Chinese restaurant and it was a dude?
Yeah.
Or when you go into the cleaners, there's a guy doing all the work there. That's because all the women were doing sex work and all the men, because there was a big, huge push to get Chinese people out of America. And the only people that could work in America were people who were waiters or did women's jobs. And that's how they were able to keep the men here. And they would give the men the women's job, and then they would keep the women supposedly at home, but they were back at the brothel giving head.
What did you learn about? Was that truly a real story? How the word hookers come from?
Dude, explain that. And I don't know, but I wanted to look that up.
I read this is what I read somewhere on. Is how it was Reader's Digest or somewhere,
right?
And it said that Sergeant Lee Hooker or Sergeant Hooker was a guy during the Civil War between the Union and the Confederate, and this guy would bring in a wagon full of hoes, bro, prostitutes, and he'll take them to the Union side. Okay. And they will have prostitutes.
Right.
And then he'll take them after they're done. He'll take them to the other side, to the bigger heads of the South, and then people will be waiting for them. He goes, "Where's John Lee? Where's Sergeant Hookers?
Sergeant Hookers.
Sergeant Hookers." And then that became the word, bro, hookers.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a very interesting etymology of that.
What you got right here, bro?
So that's all my notes.
Who's Stagger Lee, bro?
Stagger Lee, if you remember back in the day, there was a song.
Stagger Lee. I thought it was a song.
And then Tina Turner and Ike Turner. It's actually a true story about a guy. And it's weird because this isn't really, I guess there was so few humans back then that everybody was important. Because this guy, Billy Lyons, who was another gang member, walked over to Stagger Lee and was like, "I'm going to take your fucking hat from you." They were friends and they got in an argument and he took his hat and walked off with it, and fucking Stagger Lee shot him and then took his hat back. And that's what the whole song is about, is this guy standing up for himself. But he was a pimp, and really Stagger Lee's importance comes from during the time that he was a pimp in the early 1800s. This is the 1895 is when this is kind of a thing. And he is one of the rare pimps that were around. This is like before pimping was a big thing, and they call themselves macaros, and this is where the term mac comes from, and they confuse it with mackerel, like a fish. But macaro is MAQUEROU or something like that. But it's a French word meaning a purveyor, someone who sells anything. And so that's where the term Mac comes from. That's where the Mac comes from. That's where Macking comes from. All of that came from that time because Stagger Lee was part of like 5 dudes that were pimps called the Chicago Macs. That's where that term comes from. And that's Stagger Lee's importance. We could also talk about Odessa Madre, who was one of the rare lady pimps of the 70s, of the early years. She was born in 1907, and she came into prominence around the 1950s and 60s. And she was raised in an all-white school with maybe like 3 or 4 other black kids. And so she had all these prominent friends and people that were of importance. And she actually herself had a chance at education and becoming a like regular person in society. But she was like, fuck it, I'm going to be a pimp. All these black people are pimps. I'm going to be a pimp. And she became one of the most prominent pimps in Washington, where she was like fucking having like really important social people come over and do their thing. And
wow,
she made tons of money. She was rich for a long time, and she was born penniless and died penniless, basically. Like if you take the Mac, it's a little bit about a guy named Frank Ward out of Oakland, California. But Frank Ward died with family members, and I think the Mac was based off of him, but his story, because the Mac is about a guy who's broke, comes into the world broke, and leaves broke.
Hell yeah,
and
bro.
that's Odessa Madre.
Because I have a question, man.
Sure.
What's the Players Ball and when did it start?
So that's the
and who popularized it and why did it start in a movie?
There's a couple of.
I have a question before you start.
Sure.
I know you studied it more than me. Butch, did the Player Ball start in a movie or as a song first, was it a movie first or something somebody created?
It was in real life first, and then it became part of a movie, and then it became the song in the 90s.
When was the first one?
The first, like, we're in reality.
Players Ball is that's the sketch that came out of Haters Ball.
Right. The Haters Ball sketch came out of the original Players Ball.
All pimps.
And it was all pimps.
From all over America.
Yeah, it was a guy named what's that guy's name? Don Juan.
What movie filmed that? The Hughes Brothers movie.
The American Pimp.
American
Pimp.
Yeah.
So his name was so there's 2 people who started it. Bishop Don Magic Juan and Frank Ward had one in Oakland, California as well. And I don't know who started it, but they would have it every year on their birthdays. Bishop Magic Don Juan's lasted longer and still is to this day. But the thing is that back in the 70s to the 90s, it was a popular, huge event. It started to wane off in the 2000s, and now it's just a fucking old people convention.
I saw a documentary where what's that guy's name? Slim from the Bay Area?
Oh, Fillmore Slim.
Fillmore Slim. He said that he showed up to LA one time, bro.
Yes.
He showed up to LA, and as soon as he showed up, he said, "Man, these pimps out here were vicious."
Yeah.
I showed up, these motherfuckers took my hoes.
Yeah.
He said I was left with 2 hoes.
Uh-huh.
So man, I said, "Okay, motherfuckers, is that how you're gonna play? Is that how you're gonna teach a motherfucker from the Bay? Y'all want to play?
Right.
Okay, that's how players play." He said, "I went to a public phone.
Okay.
I'll call up my main hoe. These bitches, these hoes flew the next day. 6 of the most thoroughbred hoes." He was saying thoroughbred.
I love that word.
They touched down Los Angeles, motherfucker. I took everybody, 5 hoes from every pimp out here, and left my bottom bitches behind.
What's a bottom bitch?
So those 10 chicks, those.
Oh, do you know? I mean, I know, but
the bottom ones are like the ones he had, like the ones that are like getting older. He don't want them no more.
Yeah. They're on their way out.
Those are the ones he already beat up.
According to Iceberg Slim's book, they're tired dogs.
Yes. So he brought those bottom hoes. So he flew into the Players Ball in LA with the bottom hoes, bro.
Right.
And then they took him. So then he fucking came back with 7 bad ones. Freshies. And then those ones were vicious, he said. They went out there, bro, and they told all those other hoes how great it was, and they left him.
And they went with Fillmore.
Yeah, and then he showed up to that party with all those hoes. And that's that scene where, hey, man, your bitch chose me.
Is that where that comes from? No way.
That's what we're saying here in History for Fools.
Okay, I'll go with it. Do you want to know
But think about it, though. Like, that has to be, right? Because if you go there, he showed up with 10 of his prostitutes, and then they're at a party, and they're having a good time, and then, like, 4 of the hotter ones leave.
Right.
Or 5.
Yeah, with him.
And what a disrespect.
How gangster is
that? Gangster, but you know what? He kept it gangster, bro. He kept it real. He go like a gentleman. Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
They left with me. What are you gonna do?
So they went over there and he called Oakland, where he's from, Fremont, whatever he's from.
San Francisco.
Fillmore.
Yeah.
He called up Fillmore.
Right.
Those chicks show up.
Right.
Bad chicks.
Right.
You know, they go over there and they start recruiting, bro. Recruiting. He didn't have to do nothing.
No, that's his whole thing. Is he doesn't.
Because he's focused, my friend. He's focused. Those hoes went out there and did all the dirty work. He's over there talking to fucking Magic Wand. He's talking to this pimp from fucking Compton. He's mingling.
Right.
But bro, when they're in Southwest and Burbank,
yeah,
he left all his scraps behind.
Right.
It's like they took his trash.
He did a hoe dump.
And went back to Oakland, bro, with a fresh crop.
Do you know how he?
But that was he was a jazz musician, right?
Yes, he became a pimp.
That was having orgies.
He was a famous jazz blues musician, and like not famous in the way of like he made a lot of money. He was super popular. He was born in like Louisiana or something like that. Was like fuck this life. I heard California has hella fucking money, and he came out to California to live with his family. He was getting in trouble back home. And he moved in with his like sister or aunt, and she was like, "Hey, listen, whatever you do, stay the fuck away from the Fillmore area," which was like back in the day, bro. And I can tell you firsthand, Fillmore was back in the day was a spot. I can't tell you that firsthand, but it was the hood growing up. It was the fuck, dude. Now Fillmore's a nice.
So it must have been the hood back forever, huh?
You walk around.
It took 100 years to clean up,
bro. 100 years. You walk around
just
now,
like downtown LA,
bro. You walk around now, and you would know that there were pimps and prostitutes and gangsters in Fillmore. Fillmore District now is beautiful, except for their like they have a couple of like project houses there, but Fillmore is like I remember going through, and you didn't like cops would tell you. I got pulled over outside of the Fillmore District, and he goes, when you go through here, he's all, I'm going to let you run the next 3 stop signs. He's all, then just take off out of this neighborhood. Don't fucking come back here. And that's how bad it was. But Fillmore Slim became a popular musician before he became a pimp. And he was so good at music, he was in Texas, that this woman approached him and was like, hey, here's some money. I want a hoe for you. He didn't even know what that shit was, bro. He was just, and he said, I stayed with her for 3 days, and she brought me money home every day. And she said, I want to go back home with you to the Bay and fucking help you get women. And so was this girl who helped him become a pimp. And then he became one of the world's, like, most well-known, prominent pimps ever. And, like, but that's, to me, is the craziest story. He didn't even, bro, that, like, can you imagine you're performing comedy somewhere and this lady walks over and hands you, and there's a white lady, she hands you money and is like, I'll bring you more tomorrow, just fucking let me stay with you. Pimping.
Pimps down, bro. Hoes up.
Pimps down, hoes up.
Man, because of our OnlyFans now and everything, man, I remember pimps are down now, bro. I remember Fraser Smith had a joke, man. Pimps are. I saw a pimp in a Prius.
I saw a pimp in a Prius.
Bro, I saw a pimp.
These are the jokes.
I saw a pimp during COVID wearing a mask. He was talking like this. I will slap you, ho.
These are the jokes, people.
And it was tough because in the 90s, man, because crack brought down the price of prostitution.
Yeah, totally.
And also a lot of pimps were looking bad, bro. Huh?
Right. Yeah, a lot of pimps were in a bad way. And that was kind of the end. The 80s was the end of pimping, really. Yeah. Like that level of pimping where they were dressing nice. Like I said now, like during the 80s, pimps dressed like you are right now.
Yeah, what's up, man? 90 pimp, what's up, baby?
And I would say, yeah, late 90s, but now pimps just look like regular dudes. They just look like regular homies, you know, like.
Pimps don't wait at Greyhound stations no more for runaway chicks.
Fuck no. No, bro, you have the internet for that. And that's the thing, too, is like pimping's gotten taken
like if you
forms with the internet. Like,
one thing about a pimp, and that's the one thing I learned from the get-go, homie, was the pimp doesn't stop talking. He just keep rapping to a chick, wear a bitch down.
His mouth is his greatest weapon.
Yeah, man. And now that you can't do that like that in public. Now, man, if you're a pimp with bad grammar, it's gonna be tough, homie.
Fuck yeah,
you gotta type all that shit.
Yeah, I think pimping's a lot harder nowadays.
But pimping now, man, is different because it's not even a lot of the stuff like Bang Bros or all these places where they have where they make pornos where a girl could just leave her home and be a porn star in Las Vegas or Florida for like 2 days and go back home. That's pimping.
That's pimping.
You fly a woman out, that's sex trafficking.
Right. Yes. And again,
you fucking mail weed, that's wire trap. That's mail fraud.
That's interstate.
You threaten somebody's life
commerce.
over the phone, that's wire trap, right?
Yeah.
Wire fraud.
Well, you know, like our friend Joey Diaz, how he, you know, when he
that's right, cocksuckers.
When he talks about his kidnapping beef in your mind, and forever, I always thought this motherfucker put someone in the back of his car and drove off with it, or gunpoint, put someone in a vehicle. He actually did steal the guy, but he just he brought him to another room. The fact that he brought him to another room at gunpoint made him the kidnapper.
Wow, bro.
Like if he didn't move him to another room, he wouldn't have caught a kidnapping charge. He would have caught a lower charge for something else.
I gotta start pressing charges on people that kidnap me in their boring podcast. So Felipe, what was your struggle coming into America? I heard that your brother.
What's it like doing comedy in Mexico?
What is this, Snore PR? What's up, everybody, from History for Foos?
History for Foos.
History of Pimping.
Thank you for watching. We love you guys. And keep inboxing me with ideas.
Shout out to Joanna, big fan.
Yes. Shout out to Joanna. Shout out to Butch.
Ramon.
Butch McLeod, the Butch big homie keeping me afloat in this modern day.
Shout out to Chiclets for hooking it up.
Oh, shout out to Chiclets and Sunset Connect, man. I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the goodies you give me. And Ollie, you're the best.
Also, man, if you're listening from this Sunday, thank you very much for listening this Sunday. We had a lot of fun in Yakima, right? You had a lot of fun in Yakima.
Oh, so much fun in Yakima.
You love Yakima, right?
I love Yakima. Thank you guys so much. And again, everybody who came up to me in Yakima.
Was that your first time in Boise?
It was my first time in Boise. It was actually my first time in Yakima. I don't know if you remember. Last time I was supposed to meet up with you guys in Yakima, I went to the wrong airport and I missed the flight. Dude, I was like, everyone hates me. This is the worst. And fucking, so I was flying out of San Francisco. I was living in the Bay Area. There's San Francisco and Oakland Airport. Yeah. And, you know, poor Lisa has to try to figure out how to fly me out. Yeah. And I thought it was San Francisco, and I thought it was Oakland, and so I went to Oakland that weekend. I was supposed to fly to San Francisco, and I remember meeting up with you guys the next day, and you're all, I bet you wanted to live under a rock after yesterday. And I was like, yeah. And like, just you feeling bad for me made me feel even worse, because I was like, you're supposed to be mad at me right now, bro. But like, you were like, I bet you feel like shit. I was like, I do, dude. It was like, hell yeah. I know that feeling, dog.
Jockey Vegas. Shout out to Jockey Vegas.
Jockey Vegas.
This, oh, man. Okay, man. Thank you very much. History for Foos. Historians. Foostorians.
Foostorians.
Foostorians.